Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, and wherever you're listening. Joined with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Joe Whittaker.
You're right, I'm here.
Obviously, he's busy, as he generally is at, every Sunday evening. Alan's away. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but we do have with us doing twice as many videos a week. So, obviously, acting as twice as many hosts is Jamie Page.
I know where Alan is. He's busy stealing all my projects. Hello.
Excellent. We also have a very special guest on this evening. You will not recognise her from YouTube, but you could well be one of her followers over on Instagram and or Facebook. It's Holly Denney. Hello, Holly. How are you?
Great.
Excellent. Okay. Just very quickly, I'll be back with you in just 1 second, Holly. So prepare yourself. We're just going to do the normal shout outs and thank yous from last week's show. So just very quickly, we have a Ragtie's wife, Jen, as well. Dave Gatton, Paul Lockwood, Andrew McQuillan, Paul Wilmore's World of Wood, Dale over at Wacky Woodworks, Gerald the Redsmith, Jim Dockrell, Dan Brown, the Wood Yogi, and Pete's Bunker Handicraft, or Peter's Bunker Handicraft. I may have written that down wrong. Peter's, let us know in the comments how I just butchered your name. Also, a big thank you to everybody who's sharing us over on the social medias, listening to us on the various platforms, SoundCloud, iTunes, etc., etc. And obviously all the members that are active over on the Facebook group, Makers on YouTube. This show, as always, is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the wood turner's abrasive paste. For more information, visit yorkshire-grit.com, and also our very good friend Chad over at Mancrafting. We're still giving away one of his awesome Mancrafting mugs to one of our lucky listeners. That's, I think, each month. Am I right on that, saying that, Jamie?
Yep, it certainly is.
Because you're kind of our giveaway guru, aren't you? I know, obviously, everyone... You've got to be good at something, I suppose. Bless him.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, our listeners...
I can't keep my own projects these days.
I think Richard, in a roundabout way, just called you a call girl. I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to plug the website, makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors, because obviously everyone can find out the information over on the website. But Jamie, do you want to just run through the giveaway for this show and the results, etc.?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah. Right. The giveaway. I was unbelieved, shocked, really shocked when I logged in to find we ended up getting 1,275 entries to this giveaway.
I was kind of expecting you to say we got just over 1,000, but that 1,200, that's mad.
Yeah,
it has a lot to do with people wanting Heath Knuckles stuff, I think.
Yeah, and the Yorkshire Grit.
Oh, the Yorkshire Grit too. Well, of course. I mean, because they kind of go together, don't they?
Yeah, big time. Because Heath actually uses Yorkshire Grit as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So, yeah. However, the winner is through entry number 372, and it's not Richard. For starters.
Yay!
And unfortunately,
got some
it's not me, Joe, Chris. I'm sorry, Holly, it's not you either. But it is a Mr. Justin Stone from Middletown. Is it DE? So that's Delaware, USA.
Awesome.
So I've got your contact information on the Glee map. I shall pass it on to Mr. Heath Knuckles and to Glyn. Glyn is in USA at the moment, so there may be a bit of a delay until he gets back. But again, I'll pass on your details.
All right, well, congratulations. Justin Stone was his name, Jamie?
Yep, Justin Stone.
All right, Justin, congrats.
Nice one.
Nicely done, Justin. Yeah, I'd love to see what you make with that stuff as well. So keep us posted on that, because it's always nice to see what what good things people can make from the stuff that we give away and probably couldn't make
Ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we have a question from social media or anything like that this week, Chris? That we
do, and it's we'll try to keep this brief if we could, because I'm really excited to talk to our guest today. So Holly, bear with us just for a little bit more. She's looking at her watch, going, why am I here?
Still here?
No. I got this question from our Makers on YouTube group earlier this week. I thought it was a good question for you guys that make videos. And so for the folks that are in this room that do videos and the folks out in the chat, this question is for you. And it comes to us from gentleman, and I will butcher this gentleman's first name if I try to pronounce it. So I'm just going to spell it. And if you guys want to chime in on how to pronounce it, help me out. I believe he's originally Polish. His first name is Piotr.
Piotr.
Okay, I'll go with that. His last name is Kolosinski. Anyway. The question that he had posed to the group, he said, with instructional videos, or just videos perhaps where you're working in a small area for quite some time and you're filming, do you take long shots and then just kind of crop it in post-production, choosing the scenes, or do you rather, shooting particular scenes with different angles? He says that he notices that if he takes a long shot in just one position, I end up with, a set of scenes only from one angle, which is kind of quite boring. So he's wondering, it's a filmmaker's question, I guess. If his question, I guess, in a nutshell means if you know you're going to be working at your desk, let's take, for an example, like Make It Soph. She's assembling that Dalek that she just made. Do you film from a single position and then, kind of play with it in post-production, or do you consciously make sure that you move the camera to get different angles so that it remains interesting to the viewers? Joe, Richard, Jamie, up to you.
I do mine because it's basically a quick answer. With the scroll saw, it's nothing but looking straight down where the blade is cutting. That's it. There's not much anywhere else you can look at unless you want to look at my mug, and I don't think you do. So you look at the wood, that's it.
Definitely.
So that's basically it. You look at the wood and the blade and see where it's cutting and what hour it's cutting. That's it.
All right, Joe?
For me, I try to think ahead of time of the production of the video itself. So that does help a lot to how you actually want it to look. I definitely try and get as many different camera angles as I can. A good rule of thumb is to think around the 10 to 15 second mark per shot, per angle. Anything longer than that, it can become boring. So if you're doing a repetitive process, maybe record it from one angle. Then when you become onto the second process, change that angle. Or if you are in a stationary position, changing the level of zoom or even just a slight off to the one side can make a huge difference. So do keep that in mind.
Yeah, I try and move the camera around. I generally forget because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing rather than where the camera is. And also I'm a bit lazy. But I deliberately try not to take longer shots very often, because if you then try and zoom in and crop that out sort of down the production, you end up, I think, losing resolution. And also if your focus is just even a tiny bit out, as you get closer in, it gets even worse, and you're better off kind of staying.
Yeah, and
trying to stay wide. I think
that's probably the advantage. That's probably the advantage to shooting in 4K, because if you shoot 4K, you can crop. You can do that without losing resolution. But yeah, most of us shoot in 1080p, I think. So yeah, that's all right, cool. Because that was kind of my answer too. I mean, I have, like Joe. I mean, I have taken. Where I knew I was going to be. Let's say I had a relatively long board. I had to make a through cut on the table saw. It's like if I know that my camera has been in the same position for longer than 5 seconds, I will stop the saw, get up, move the camera, create a different angle. No, ideally, it would be best if you had two cameras, but I mean, a lot of people don't have two cameras, but you can make one camera look like two by, working that way. So I hope that answers your question. So I guess the advice he's looking for is, yes, move the camera, because for the viewer, it makes it more interesting to watch, as opposed to just sitting there looking at a single angle throughout the entire video.
Unless you've got a scroll saw.
Or yeah, which is why Scroll Saw Project nobody likes.
Exactly. Yeah, that was terrible from the get-go anyway. So
doesn't matter what angle you use with a scroll saw, still a scroll saw.
Not gonna help.
Sorry, mate.
I know I've got to pretend to be Alan this show because he's been stealing my stuff. So I hate the scroll saw.
Okay, good.
You got that
Yay!
recorded.
It's official, yes.
Yeah, and Joe's got that.
What a copy of that,
recorded
Joe. Excellent. Well, I think we've ignored her for long enough, and hopefully she's had time to prepare herself. Holly, are you good to go? Are we?
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent. Not quite sure really for what exactly, but how are you? What you're doing? Do you want to just very briefly introduce yourself to me first and foremost, because I don't really know a huge amount about you. There's no point me trying to blag it. So do you want to give us a quick background of yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I live in Norwalk or Mansfield, Ohio. I grew up in Norwalk. I live in Mansfield, Ohio. I've been turning about 3 years. I snowman. That just took off and it keeps me in business, and turning is all I do. I don't have another job. So the snowman sales really keep me going. I do turn a lot of other things. I got into pens about a year ago, and I'm totally hooked on pens. That's about it. I have some 4 kids and a fiance.
Right. So I mean, just going on to the snowman. I mean, I had a look at your Instagram account, which, by the way, is amazing, and you have got a huge following over on Instagram with what you're doing on there. So definitely like to know a few of your trade secrets as to how you kind of manage such a big following and you know, provide all that content. But with was it something like 80 snowmen that you sold in the first year, or am I getting that wrong?
Yeah, in the first year. In the second year, I sold 347.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And presumably that was just that was the sort of the build up to Christmas rather than
2016 I did that.
right. But do you end up making those snowmen mostly before Christmas, or do you have to basically do it throughout the year in preparation for that?
Well, I say I'm going to prepare all year long, but I don't. I end up just working like 15-hour days during the Christmas season, starting in about October.
Every year, I think I say, I'm going to do some Christmas things around about summertime, and then I never do, and then gets to December, and I just think I really need to start on like the Easter things, and then that happens about the end of March, and every year I'm always late, and I think I just gave up after a while. There's no point trying to keep up with the seasonal things unless you go, right, I'm not going to do Christmas at all this year, and I'm just going to start doing, you know, the next, whatever the next calendar event is down the line. But that takes a lot of discipline as well.
There's a lot of people, proud people over in the chat that are all proud owners of Holly's snowmen, actually.
Well, judging by the numbers, I'm not surprised. I mean, did you say 340?
Yeah, that was my second year. This year, I didn't sell that many. I mean, I sold a lot. Just I didn't sell 350. Last year, I had them priced really low, and it was just too much work. So I asked a little bit more for them this year, and that kept my workload down a little bit better. It was more manageable.
Okay. What kicked off this? I mean, of all the things that you can turn, how did it evolve into the snowmen as opposed to something else?
It started, I turned a snowman for a guy that gave me some wood from his family farm. I turned him a snowman out of that wood, and he broke down. He loved the fact that it was from his family farm. It had sentimental value to him. And am I talking loud enough?
Yeah.
You're coming through for me. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. But I think I took my own interest in the snowman, and I put a lot of effort into them, and I kept trying to make them better and better and better. And I think that's why they sell so much. I try to come up with different ideas for them and keep the ball rolling, keep them new, you know, something new with them. And I went to Kentucky to Chris Ramsey, and that totally changed my turning. I am 110% better turner. since I did that.
So presumably before that you were kind of following YouTube videos and reading books and kind of teaching yourself, presumably some bad habits in there as well.
Yes.
Okay. And then, I mean, obviously people know you for the Snowmen. Jamie's obviously said already that there's people in the chat that have got some of the Snowmen, and I think they're all slightly different. They've got themes, and they're not just snowmen, are they? They have particular themes with some of them, and
I don't think of those themes myself. The customers contact me and they want those things. My inspiration is whatever the customers come up with. Like I did one for a call center, with the headphones and all that stuff. But they just contact me with these crazy ideas, and then I get to play around and have fun with it. It's just a whimsical item. It's nothing serious. It's kind of crafty, but it's fun.
Excellent. Well, what about the pens? I mean, I've turned the odd pen here and there, and I always find, and I don't know if, and I get that people sort of get hooked by the whole pen making thing, and you end up just making pens for complete strangers and then giving them away and all the rest of it. But do you find it gets a little bit of a production line, preparing all the blanks? Because a pen, I've always found it takes a couple of hours just to get the thing on the lathe, and then a few minutes to turn, and it's not a load of long time turning. Do you know what I mean? It's comparative to cutting the blanks and gluing up the tubes and everything.
I don't. It takes me 10 minutes to prepare a blank. I mean, as long as I've got a pen blank. You glue it. I only let it set for about 15 minutes, and then I square up the ends. But I still enjoy it. People have told me I'll get burned out on pens, and I haven't yet. I still enjoy them quite a bit.
I think if you enjoy it, then obviously that's going to prolong any burnout, and potentially to the point of, always enjoying it. I mean, Chris, you make quite a few pens, don't you? I think you did one or two for Christmas one year.
Oh boy, yeah, I made more than one or two. I mean, that year, I think actually I turned 50 pens that Christmas. But Holly's right though, because it really doesn't take that long. I mean, I can from start to finish, I can probably have a pen ready to go within a half an hour, which is kind of why I like turning pens so much. Because if I don't have a lot of time in my day to get out into the shop, but yet I still have that inkling to go do something, I can always go out and turn a quick pen and feel like I did something out in my shop today. It's like okay, cool, it's pretty. It's like I'm done and I can move on. And so I'm with Holly. I mean, I have yet to get sick of turning pens, but I'll be honest with you. After that Christmas, Richard, I didn't want to even think about turning another pen for about 2 months because because it was a production. I mean, I really had them set up in a production mode because I had to turn 50 of them. But yeah, it was fun. It was good stuff. But I'm really interested in Holly's, and she gives a lot of credit to her customers' inspiration as to what she does. But I think that that kind of she's shortcoming herself a little bit because her interpretation of what her customer wants is always pretty freaking cool. So I want to kind of delve into that for a little bit, but I wanted to, if I could, just for the people that are out in the chat, kind of give people the premise of why Holly is here today. Now, everybody that is on the podcast today, Richard, Joe, Jamie, myself, were aware of who Holly was. I think Jamie probably had a more personal, close relationship with Holly than the rest of us, but we were always, I knew who you were just through conversations I've had with people throughout the community, Holly, but the one thing that really sparked us to really want to have you on, and I want to share the story, and I hope you're comfortable doing so. Holly, you entered one of your snowmen into a competition earlier or later last year, and you were like in second place for a long time in this competition. All of a sudden, you became in first place, and then you had a friend contact you who was trying to do you a favor, who kind of found a way to cheat to get you more votes. And then you immediately contacted the contest people that organized this thing and withdrew from the contest because of that. And I just thought that was so upstanding, and it showed such an outstanding character that I turned to these guys and said, we have to have this woman on because I want to get to know her. So could you give us kind of the backstory to first of all, if you wouldn't mind telling us, what was the competition that you were entered in?
And then tell us about that story and how that came to be. And I don't want you to, make any friends that try to do you a favor feel bad. So no names need to be mentioned, but just tell us about that story real quick, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Yeah, I did tell that man that did that. I told him I would never tell anybody his name. I would never let anybody know who he was.
Of course not.
Because he didn't do it in a malicious way. I just didn't share the same values he did. And I know he was trying to help me, but I don't want to win that way. That's not winning. That doesn't give you a good feeling. It doesn't give you a sense of pride. And when I got that message, I just did the forehead slap. Oh no. I was so disappointed. But it's funny. It was for a Sabertooth tools, and it was for $100 gift card. Well, when I talked to the person at Sabertooth, they actually sent me a couple of tall hat and some kind of consolation prizes. And I thought that was really cool of them to do that for me.
That was great to see.
Yeah.
I think there's, and I hate to say it because it's going to sound like I'm victimizing everyone as an individual, and I'm absolutely not. But I think there is a much smaller part of society that would do what you did, Holly, compared to doing nothing, if that makes sense. And that kind of illustrates your character, I suspect.
It really does. I don't mind saying, when I saw that story, I had to kind of think about what I would do in that situation. And it's awful to say, but I was struggling to think, would I do the same thing? And I was really racking my brains. If somebody contacted me and said that there was helping me out in some way and there was doing this, to do that and to even make it public as well, it made me think I need to be a better person, kind of thing. And it was so heartwarming, the gesture that you put out there, especially to the other contestants taking part, to say this isn't a fair process, so I'm stepping back. But to see what Sabertooth did, really good on them, because of course it was their competition, they was running it. They didn't have to do anything, but they've definitely done the right thing in showing their appreciation for what you did, because the work you put out there, that would have won anyway. It would have won easily. Your Snowman, it was fantastic. So it was great to see that you got something at least.
Well, yeah. I did my snowman in orange and green in the Sabertooth color. And I ended up mailing it to them. I told them somebody can put it on their desk or whatever.
Oh, that's lovely.
Well, I tell you why it meant so much to me when I saw the response that you had to that, is because I had been following you for the week, 2 weeks. Because you were actually making jokes about it at one point in time on social media about telling people, yes, I know I'm bugging you again about this, but it was obviously clear you wanted to win this competition. You wanted to win it, but then, and so a lot of people who get into that kind of mindset, I want to win this, I want to win this, and they don't really care how they win it, they just want to win it. But you got hit with that, and you went, no, that's not right, that's not how I want to win it. And that's when I went, guys, we need to talk to this woman, because I don't know. As like Joe, I struggled with, I'm going, would I have done that? Until you put in that situation, I don't really know. But it was admirable. And so I said, we need to talk to Holly Denney, because I think she's awesome. And she is.
I'd probably be like, how do you cheat? I need to do this.
Joe wants to know how your friend did it. So how did your friend do that, by the way? I just want to hear this.
Just for research.
Yeah. I want to know how to rig these Makers International podcast contests.
You just get some idiot to run it, and
yeah, that'd be a good idea. I can't even rig it. I'm the one hosting it.
So Holly, just going back to your turning, and you briefly mentioned you bought your, was it 3 years ago? You said you bought a lathe. So you've been turning for, was it 3 years or 4 years?
About 3.5, somewhere around there.
3.5.
I don't remember the exact month that I started.
Okay, so that's not a huge amount of time compared to, you know, a lot of people. But you're actually teaching classes now, is that right? So
Yes.
how did that come about? I mean, did you just start turning, I can do this, I'm going to do some classes, or did somebody approach you? Can you do the classes on our behalf, or what was the kind of backdrop for that?
Well, the only classes I've taught is the woodcraft, making a snowman. And let me tell you, I was terrified because I'm not real confident in my skills yet. And it helped seeing Chris, because at least I knew after training it with Chris Ramsey, I had the proper technique down, because you don't want to pass on some goofy technique or some bad habit
Sure.
to a brand of responsibility to teach. And I've been asked to do demo after demo, and I still say no, because I still need a little bit more time. I just do. I need to make sure that I can responsibly teach a new turner.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to know the subject matter. You've got to have that off the bat before you can start passing that information on. I completely get that. But I mean, how did you say woodcraft?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How did they find you and approach you, or did you go to them?
Facebook. I think maybe the owner and I became friends on Facebook, or I became friends with somebody that worked at Woodcraft. But one day the owner just contacted me. This is in Columbus, Ohio, and asked if I would teach a class on turning snowmen. And Doug Thompson, who is a mentor of mine from Doug, he always tells me to go out of my comfort zone and to say, yeah, oh, this is what he says: walk through every door. And I just thought, oh, okay, I'm going to try this, because Doug says walk through every door. So I put my foot out there and I tried it, and I absolutely loved it. I love teaching. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess where I'm sort of trying ahead with this is you don't do videos on YouTube, and you don't obviously monetize anything from that, but already from your social media backing, you've got kind of an income stream heading as a result of the woodcraft teaching being found on Facebook. So it's kind of using it as part of your business model.
And I'd like to have a YouTube channel someday, but I need the equipment, I feel like, and it's an investment, and I'm just not ready to make that yet.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it not so much the equipment. I don't think I'd necessarily say you need lots of equipment, but you definitely need the time. And then you've got all the editing and the rest of it.
Jamie, have we got any questions?
Yes, mate. Funny you say that. Well, firstly, hello from Bobsley's Woodshop. He wanted me to give you a direct hello. So, hello from Bobley. A question from Paul Lockwood. He said, what is the most difficult snowman you've made so far? And also, what was your favorite?
The most difficult snowman is the snowman standing at the lathe, because I have to make them, the lathe, and blanks and pieces, parts, and turn little parts and make and put it all together. It's really time consuming. And my favorite is, of course, my drummer, Snowman. I think if you haven't seen him, he's sitting at a drum set. But the drum set, I just took log slices with the bark. Yeah. Yeah. That's when my Instagram exploded, when I posted him on Instagram. Then it really started to grow.
Okay. And we've got a question as well from Heath Knuckles. I'm not sure if I should really allow this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Boxers or briefs?
Oh, man. No, Heath, you're not getting in on this with Jamie, are you, man?
I think Heath just got used to say, yeah.
I think he did. I think Jamie's making that one up.
Heath genuinely asked it.
Okay.
I'm not even wearing pants. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Holly's a commando. God love it. All right, let's go.
All I was going to ask, Holly, is when you're turning in terms of tools, are you more a kind of traditional turning tool person, or are you more the kind of carbide tool sort of person?
I've never touched a carbide tool.
So purely the traditional.
I went from Harbor Freight tools to Doug Thompson tools, and it was amazing. So no, I've never used carbide. I'm not saying that I won't someday. I will try someday. I'd like to see what it's like, but I'm so happy with my tools right now. I just,
Well, Thompson tools are hard to not like.
Yeah.
What do you have, like a Wolverine sharpening system, or what are you using to keep your tools tuned up?
I have the Wolverine, and I have 2 CBN wheels from that Wood Turner's Wonders.
Right.
CBN wheels, Rikon
Grinder. Yeah.
grinder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
With
That's
the Doug
awesome.
Thompson tools, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Super sharp.
Because I'm purely interested, because I see a lot of turners that are new getting into turning that kind of favour the carbide. And Jamie, you use quite a few carbide tools, don't you? I noticed in your latest, was it the leadwood bowl that Alan
right.
turned?
Yeah.
That was
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the one that Alan done.
yeah.
It's fantastic, that one.
The one Alan took credit for, but had nothing to do with it. That was hilarious, by the way, because Jamie posted a picture of that bowl in the chat, and Alan grabbed it and posted it and said, "Look what I just did."
and not just on his Instagram, but on the Facebook, on the Instagram, everywhere.
And so he's getting congratulations from all these people in the background. He's just laughing because he knows that he had nothing to do with it. He's stealing all of Jamie's glory. That's
And then he's coming back to the chat to be like, I think this is going a bit too far now. If it goes viral in his name.
I would have laughed so hard if that happened, and I genuinely would have felt no sorrow for Jamie at all. So I've got another question that I'd like to ask, but I don't want to hog the kind of the question he's saying. Is there anything out in the chat there, Jamie, that people are dying to ask Holly, or if you are still listening,
there is actually a question from Steve Twidell. He says, "What tips does Holly have for gaining a good following on Instagram?"
I am so lazy on Instagram. I should hashtag every picture I post, and I don't. One thing I do is I pay attention to other people's posts. I like them. I comment on them. I do a lot of searches for things I'm interested in, and then I'll like their work and I'll add them. I have a lot of people I follow too, to be fair. I mean, I have like 5,000 something, close to 6,000 that I follow, and then close to 10,000 followers. So pay attention to other people's stuff. I mean, it's the give and take on social media.
Absolutely. Do you spend much time sort of composing the pictures and that sort of thing? I mean, I personally don't. I just snap a photo and just put it out there, and no filters or anything, and just.
Yeah,
but I don't have.
I take a picture with my cell phone. Sometimes I'll edit it a little bit, but I mean, they get used to seeing the same thing from you. They know to expect wood-turned items from me, and I don't know. The picture, the quality, I guess it makes a bit of a difference. But I get a lot of sales on Instagram. They'll private message me. So I do get a lot of sales. Yeah.
That's good to know. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have thought of something like Instagram as a kind of a gateway for selling. at all. That wouldn't just never would occur to me. But going back to what you said about the people expect wood turned items. Presumably that's why they follow you, because they're doing what you're doing and doing searches for interesting topics.
Yep. And I do need to hashtag more. Hashtags are really important. I need to take the time to do it.
You end up taking a photo and spending 3 times longer doing the description and anything else, and it kind of takes the Insta out of Instagram, doesn't it? Jamie, didn't I see another question or someone a question in the chat?
I'm gonna guess it's Heidi from Slaps Off Together. She says, "What paints are you using on the pieces, and do you seal them with a clear spray or something?"
I use paint pens because I can't paint. Okay, I can't take a brush and do beautiful artwork. I'm not good at it at all. So I just use paint pens. So it's still a hand painted piece. It's not like a marker, but it just makes it a lot easier. I paint after I do my. I actually seal it up on the lathe with Mylands and Yorkshire grit and Hampshire. My sanding sealer, and then I paint over top of that, because if I paint and I try to put a spray that I don't like, then it'll smear.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So you seal it all up completely and then paint it, rather than the other way around. That makes a lot of sense. I'm pretty sure, and I'm always very reluctant to ask some questions sometimes, particularly on guests that I'm not particularly familiar with, because there is a huge potential for me to make an even bigger fool of myself than normal. But I'm sure on your sorry,
fiance, stop right there.
Excellent.
That tells you, Richard.
Absolutely, I like that. I mean, I visited your website.
Okay,
I was looking on your website, and there was a little kind of, I don't know if it was a blog post or an article or something, but didn't you manage to scrounge a part of the oak tree that featured in the Shawshank Redemption, the film, the movie?
Yes. Well, no. Yes and no. My very good friend owns, him and his sister each own half the tree. Okay. The tree is down. It came down in a storm. He got half of it and his sister got half. Well, my really good friend has his half of the tree. Well, I have access to that wood. I can have him cut it whatever size I want, or get some blanks or dandies. If anybody wants any of that wood, you can find them online, dandies.
That is quite. I mean, I love that film. I think that's just.
I have like. Wood's pretty too. It is just white oak, but it's actually got some figuring to it.
I like the way you say it's just white oak.
Am I right in thinking it's the tree where they bury next to the wall, like bury the box kind of thing? Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like I mean, it's almost as big a character in the film as Red and Dufresne, Andy Dufresne. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. So, what have you actually made from that tree then? Presumably snowmen. Mostly what? Sorry, pens.
You know, I need to make a Shawshank snowman.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, and Holly, I'm sorry I didn't hear your answer from Richard. What have you made from that tree so far?
I've just made pens.
Okay.
I haven't made anything else.
Okay.
That's all I've made.
I can definitely see a Shawshank snowman, and then you've got to have it in a cell with the poster slightly revealing a hole in the wall. And the little chess pieces on the window.
That is awesome.
That would go for some cash. I bet people would pay some money for that.
Would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order.
Actually, there's Sophie out in the chat said Doctor Who Snowman in the future, maybe.
Oh wow.
And you, Val, said exactly the same as well.
Wouldn't
Doctor.
surely a Doctor Who snowman would be like a Dalek with a carrot for a nose?
Yeah, I guess so.
And
an
I
extra,
believe,
an extra long carrot.
yeah, with a sink plunger on the end. But I understand you also do, or you're just getting into segmented turning. Did you say?
Oh, I have. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I don't know. I don't do patterns or anything like that. I just glue a bunch of pieces together, run them through the bandsaw, glue them together again, run them through the bandsaw, and I come up with these really cool, but I haven't actually followed a pattern yet.
Right. So it's not sort of like the segmented bowls you might see or anything like that. It's more of a kind of a chaotic, random sort of pattern.
No, and I don't normally turn bowls because I don't like to use a chuck, but I just took an order for 2 bowls. So you will see a bowl that I turn pretty soon.
Excellent. That,
Fine.
There is a question from Ragtie I've just actually spotted. He's asking, do you ever feel like you need to take a step back from the turning, or have you just enjoyed it so much that you can just keep going and going and going?
Sometimes I get burned out just like everybody else does. If I have to do an order of 18 snowmen and I procrastinate, I'm terrible. Absolutely procrastinate every time. And so I'll wait until 2 days before I need those 18 snowmen to do them. And I get burned out. But generally, I love it so much. I still get the urge in the evening when I should be resting. I still have the urge to turn.
That's great.
that just shows a dedication and a passion for doing what you're doing. But if you spend a lot of time procrastinating about a particular piece, how long on average would you say it takes to turn a snowman or something like that?
To turn a snowman takes me 23 minutes, the hat and the body. And I know that because I do that. I time myself because it makes it more fun. So
And presumably more productive as well.
to turn a body and a hat.
But then you've got to add in arms, you've got to paint it and all the rest of it. So that's just the turning process.
I would say to do the whole snowman, to complete him, probably 35-40 minutes for one.
That's still a fairly.
Said I had 18 snowmen that I had to do. That was for a class that was going to decorate them themselves. So I
cool.
just pumped them out.
Cool.
That's still a fairly heavy investment in time, though, isn't it? Half an hour just for one snowman. That's still quite time.
Well, Holly, I can't let you go without letting you know. There's a snowman of yours that I can identify with, and that I really, if it was still available, and I know it's not, but if it was still available, I would buy it. It's the snowman that looks a lot like this. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My customer was a craft.
He was a. I'm sorry. Well, your customer was what?
They were fans of craft beer.
Oh yeah, no, but I looked at that and went, okay, yeah, she has already won my heart over because I'm a fan of craft beer too. So I saw that and I went, yeah, I like that one. I'm sorry, Jamie, I interrupted. Do you have another question?
I'm going to do another question from the chat. Actually, there's a quick comment from Jim Dockrell first. He says, "Can Holly turn a lima bean for Chris?"
I've got a sneaking suspicion the beans are going to see a reoccurrence.
Great.
Just give me lima beans, lots of lima beans all around me.
I don't have enough stimulus around me already. Do me a favor, save that.
There's a question from Eloy at Escahedor Woodworking. He says, how did the idea of the turned light bulbs come about?
Oh, for autism, my niece kept asking me to turn a light bulb, and I couldn't figure out why she wanted me to turn a wooden light bulb. And one day she said, well, for autism, they have, it's August 12th or something in August. It's lighted up blue for Autism Day. Put in all blue light bulbs and shine blue spotlights, and it's just a big deal, this blue light bulb. So I made her a blue light bulb out of wood, and she just loved it for, autism awareness. Well, then I posted it online, and so wanted one because their nephew has autism, and on, and everybody kept ordering them. Well, anybody can order one of those light bulbs from me, and I will not charge them. You're going to wait like 3-4 weeks to get it because I'm busy, but I won't charge for those light bulbs if anybody ever asks me. I've got a huge list. It's crazy.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. And it's kind of a weird item, but the families enjoy it. They like it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's for a great cause. And so, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that's going to raise awareness for something like that, it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? Regardless of what your views are.
And Richard, I don't know a better way to wrap that up except on a high note like that, because once again, that shows Holly's character, and that shows why we wanted to talk to her today. So, Holly,
Absolutely.
Awesome,
Definitely,
absolutely awesome.
It goes back to the original reason for Holly coming to our attention in the first place with the competition and all the rest of it. I think that does. What are you working on at the moment, Holly? I mean, what's currently sitting on your lathe or about to jump on the lathe?
I have 2 snowmen, David Drickhamer and Billy Breck's 2 snowmen. I traded them snowmen. And then I have 3 bits. I'm trying to figure out a good bunny rabbit design, and I'm not liking anything I've come up with so far. And then I've got a list of snowmen backed up, probably 8 snowmen backed up.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of a bit of an avalanche happening at your workshop by the sounds of things. So, well, it's always good to be busy, and if anyone looks at your Instagram, I can understand why you are so busy, inundated with requests for Snowman and all the rest of it, and I look forward to the bunny rabbits. Where can people find you on Instagram? How can they get in touch with you, etc. Too?
On Instagram, I'm at Holly Denney, and make sure you spell my last name Denney. Okay, Anolly. And then on Facebook, I'm under Holly Denney, and my website, wait for it, hollydenney.com.
Sounds like a fairly reasonable and simple process. I mean, I can find it without too much trouble. So I think if I can find it, most people can. So you might have to put Holly Denney Snowmen into that search just to double check, because I can't spell people's names for toffee. So
the links are in the description. So if you are struggling for whatever reason, check down in the description and just click the link, and you'll be right there.
Yeah, there you go. But that also explains why Jamie remembered all your social media links.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Excellent. And presumably you watch the YouTubes, etc., Holly. So do you have anyone that you'd like to tell us about that you watch, something you watched recently, somebody you enjoy watching, or anything like that?
I'm still Carl Jacobson. He's my favorite. I love his videos, and Stephen Twidell.
What? Steve Twidell? Really?
Don't be rude. Come on. Steve's an awesome guy, and so is Carl. So, we're going to go with Steve on this one because Carl gets enough love. Anyway. Carl, I do, Carl knows I love him, so it's no big deal. He'll get over that.
Steve's out in the
Quite
chat, so we
eligible.
better watch what we say.
Oh, Steve, you know what? You know, to hell with Steve. I mean, Carl, you're my favorite, man. There we go.
Temple boom.
You know what? Both links I'll have links to both Carl and Steve in the chat. How's that? I mean, in the description. How's that? All right, there you go. All right, Richard, I'm sorry.
No, don't be. You know, we're more than happy to get regular viewers on like Steve and insult them. That's absolutely fine.
But yeah, that's why I love
Steve.
that's why I love Steve so much, because he's so good at insulting you back. Carl is just such a nice guy, but Steve, if you want to insult him, he's going to have a reply for you, and you're not going to enjoy it. Anyway, all right.
Be prepared. So whilst you're jotting all those links down for the shout outs there, Chris, have you got any that you've got this week?
I don't really have a video shout out this week, but I do have a heads up to some folks that are going to be possibly in the Indianapolis area this coming Friday through Sunday. The woodworking shows is going to be making their way to the Indiana State Fairgrounds, and I know that there's a big get together for anybody who would like to attend it. If you're going to be in that area, or if you could possibly get to that area, it's an event that's being put on by Mike Fulton, Bob Blanford, Corey Irwin, and I believe Guy Dunlap. There are a number of people, notable people, that are going to be at this woodworking show in Indianapolis. So if you guys happen to be in the area, can get into that area this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, then go do so, and then go hang out with some awesome folks, because trust me, these hangouts and these meetups are a great time, and if you can get there, you won't be sorry. So I just want to get the word off of that from Mike, and if you need some information about it, I'll leave a link to the woodworking shows in Indianapolis in the description. But if you really want some information about the meetup and stuff, get in touch with Mike Fulton, because I'm sure he'll help you out.
Sure. Did you say Bob Blanford was going to be there?
Yes, because Bob's a great guy. I mean, I love Bob. We need to have him on someday too. We need to have Bob on.
He turns some awesome pens, does Bob?
Yes, he does. So we need to talk about getting him on at some point in the future. But anyway, yes, I want to give Mike and those guys meet up a shout out, because those are just a great time.
Good stuff. What about Joe and Jamie? Do you guys got anything you want to share this week with us?
Yeah,
Go on, Jamie.
Yeah, I got one. Here's a little quick fact for you as well, Chris. Corey Irwin was my very first subscriber.
Was he really?
Yeah, Mr. Black Widow Woodworks.
Black Widow Woodworks, exactly. Corey's a nice guy, super nice guy.
Yeah, he'd probably done out of pity, but
most likely.
I'm not so sure about the whole pity thing, Jamie, because you have just gone over, is it 1,500 subscribers?
Yeah, I just got 1,500 today, yeah.
1,500. That's pretty
Nice.
good going. So, you know,
Yeah,
he's not the only one that pities you.
Here's another 1,400.
Well, every view is going to help on that. So, yeah, good stuff with that. Sorry, I interrupted your...
Yeah, my shout out, it's... is Eloy Escajado. More recently, he's been putting out some fairly simple scroll saw videos, and they're coming out pretty damn cool. So yeah, recently he's done a Rush one, a Transformers one, a Cobra one, and Eloy likes to do like the rustic design. If you've watched Eloy's channel, but I'm not gonna give it a specific video for Eloy. I'm going to shout out his whole channel, because everything he does is pretty damn good, to be honest. So yeah, that's going to be my shout out. So not only does he do that, he's also got he also does his own music, which you can go and purchase as well. So which is all royalty free for your channel. So yeah, Eloy Escajado.
Good stuff. Joe, anything interesting to report from the world of Wolverhampton?
A bit further afield than Wolverhampton.
Oh, right.
Currently,
Coventry.
even further. There seems to be, I'm not fully clued up on this news story, to be honest with you, but I had seen a few headlines, and this is what drew my attention to this video as well. Currently, in South Africa, and I believe more specifically Cape Town, there's a water crisis going on. It's been, I didn't catch the figure of how long it's been since they've had any rainfall, but them drastically running out of water, and I believe they're going to be shutting off the water supplies to people's taps and stuff. So everything is on ration. They've got to try and save as much water as they can. And a fellow maker on YouTube, SA Maker, there's a link to his channel in the description. He's put out some videos talking about what's going on, but also some tips on how to save water. And I thought it's obviously very topical to bring up about what's going on at the moment. But for all of us, them great tips, water saving tips, it's something we take for granted, especially in the Western world, that you can go and turn a tap on and have instant water there. But we waste so much, so it's always worth keeping in mind the water that you am using. So go and check out the videos, showing some love. Hopefully they get some rainfall soon and this crisis can be over.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I remember a friend of mine telling me a story when he was in the army. They went to Kenya to train for a period of time, and the training area is literally right on the equator. And there was a lady who lived there. I think she was getting on for 100 years old, and she had never once seen rain. And you just cannot imagine that, can you? You can't imagine never seeing rain, particularly living in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty serious thing that we all take for granted. So good stuff. I've been watching a chap on YouTube called Young G. I suspect he is I don't know. I get the impression from a lot of the tools that he uses that he might be like a Japanese carpenter, because he uses a lot of the sort of the Japanese style tools and hand planes and whatnot. But he makes a lot of his own tools, hand planes, chisel planes, infield stuff from scratch. So he's kind of dovetailing metal together, and that's been really interesting me in taking my time up the last few evenings. So I'm going to shout out to that Young G. So I think you've already got the link for that, Chris. But
I do.
Make sure it's in the show notes. Really interesting.
It is.
Good stuff. Holly, we're kind of very quickly back with you. Thanks for coming on. It has been a pleasure, as always. I do always enjoy having guests on, just to kind of get to know new people. So thanks for coming on. It'd be it's always a shame to say sort of cheerio at the end, but just very quickly, where can everyone find you if they're listening and can't be bothered to look in the notes?
Oh, on Instagram at Holly Denney, Facebook Holly Denney, and then hollydenney.com.
Brilliant. Facebook, Instagram, and your website, Holly Denney. Stick it in the your search engine and go and find. There's some awesome stuff on your Instagram. I spent quite a few minutes checking out your Instagram, so that's it's a good one to follow. Like I said, thanks for coming on. It has been awesome. Thank you to everyone who was participating live in the chat, and thanks to everyone who's listening, if you are indeed still listening. So I think it's probably time to wrap it up. Joe's nodding his head feverishly down there because he's got to do the edit. So until next week, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Holly.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you next week.
Have a week.